moving along with, what advice would you give to someone who wants a healthy lifestyle? And I was just talking about not focusing on subtracting foods, but focusing on adding in foods. Thanks for that Reiki. I got that. And something to add in that's like a big game changer, very amazing, is the sprouts and microgreens, getting those micronutrients in. And that's kind of like the green juice, where it'll start changing your gut flora and you'll start actually wanting healthier foods. The salads will look good, the smoothies will look good, and before you know it, you'll be on board and you're like, oh my gosh, how did this happen? The microgreens started controlling you in a good way. The juice got to you. So those are two really great things to add in. Another thing I would suggest is find people who inspire you and follow them, get their books, do their courses, their coaching. I am a coach, but I'm not saying this just to self-promote. I'm saying it because it helps. Like, these are people who have done the thing and are getting the results and getting the health gains and can help hold you accountable. I've received coaching, I've taken courses, I've been on retreats to really start mastering this lifestyle and succeeding. So it's never like, a bad idea to get some help. If you really want to succeed, then definitely get some support, some coaching. Do the recipes of people who are getting the results you want. Don't just do it because it tastes good, but actually find someone who's getting the results you desire and do their recipes. And that's a really good tip to start out with. And yeah, if you can't afford support, coaching, courses, recipe books, there's so much free stuff. There's so much free stuff on Instagram. There's so much free education on YouTube. So many different free recipes. I know I try and post recipes as much as I can. The things that I create that turn out really well, I'll just post the recipe. So, there's lots of free stuff too if you don't have the resources right now to do paid books or paid coaching. And yeah, another thing, I already talked about the food diary and tracking. That's really good, wherever you are in your journey, for that accountability factor, and making sure that, if weight loss or weight gain is an issue for you, figuring out how many calories you actually need for that ideal weight, whether it's higher or lower, and, paying attention to that, maybe using a tracking tool to track your average days of food and making sure you make the progress that you want. So yeah, that's my advice. That's a lot of advice. So it's take out whatever pieces resonate, whatever you're ready for, because start where you are. Okay, next question. What are your essential kitchen tools to succeed on a raw vegan diet? Knife and cutting board are essential. Get a good knife. I love my knife. It is an expensive knife that this other chef gave me, and it has a sharpener too. Really sharp knife is amazing. A nice cutting board is really helpful, and that's really all you need to get started. What I like in addition to that, though, is having a juicer. If you have a crappy juicer, get a nut milk bag and you can run your juice through the nut milk bag and squeeze the pulp. More juice will come out. But a really good juicer, I just ordered one because I've been doing what I just talked about, where my juicer is just a centrifugal, old school Hamilton Beach, somebody left it here. I found it in the shed and started using it. Probably hadn't been used in years, and yeah, it started smelling bad, I was burning it out. And it did just an atrocious job juicing my apples for my colon cleanse. I mean, the amount of pulp and how wet it was like applesauce. So I was like, okay, I need to go ahead and order a juicer. So I got the Omega NC800, which is one that I've heard really phenomenal reviews about across the board. When I get that in, I can do a demo with it, a review of it, and let y'all know how it's performing for me. I'm really excited though. I think it's going to be phenomenal. It's a horizontal one. I've had vertical ones that are single auger, slow juicers. Those are the best. Or the horizontal single auger, slow juicer. Extremely awesome. It's just really like which one is more comfortable for you. And yeah, juicer really, really helpful. I see that question about being sick from eating raw food or just normal sickness like the flu. Not sick from eating raw food. I did have a cold like 2 years ago and didn't have to like do anything, get meds or anything, and it healed up really nicely. So yeah, you can still get sick if you're stressed out, especially. But yeah, jumping back into kitchen tools, blender. I'd say even blender before the juicer, because you're going to use it so much. And I have a Breville Q with a vacuum attachment. It's a vacuum seal blender. It is phenomenal, like best blender of my life. I've used Vitamix for years. I've worked with Blendtec before as well. The last Vitamix I had was like a really nice one. It was a new one, and it was like the Bluetooth smart Vitamix, like very fancy, bigger motor or more powerful motor apparently than previous editions, and still this Breville compared to that one that was like newest, latest, greatest, the Breville outperforms it. I was shocked, like I couldn't believe it. I've been stunned with how great it is, and also the vacuum seal technology. That is your next level smoothie, raw soup, anything you blend situation. Highly recommend it. Vacuum seal, it's going to oxidize less. The color of my creations is like even more beautiful and vibrant. It's smooth, like there aren't the air bubbles. There's not, if you've ever blended a sauce or a soup, and sometimes there are a bunch of air bubbles and it'll taste kind of weird at first, but after you stir it tastes better. That doesn't happen with this. Like, it tastes phenomenal from the first bite, and it just stays phenomenal. The smoothies and soups are denser too. But, if you can't afford a $300 or $400 blender, get whatever blender you can get. It's still going to be great. Before I was using this one, I was using a Hamilton Beach. It was like the companion to my crappy juicer that I just found here. And I was making smoothies every day and raw soups and dips, and it was a little challenging to get certain things to blend, but you can make it work with a really inexpensive blender. So get a blender that fits your budget and be grateful for it, and put some extra love in your food always. That is essential. Another thing, I mentioned the nut milk bag, but those are just handy. Like, I brought mine to Hawaii thinking, why am I even really bringing this? I ended up using it like every single day for the pulp straining. So nut milk bag is something that costs, $5 to $7, and it can come in handy when you least expect it. So buy a nut milk bag if you can. I don't make nut milks currently, but I have in the past. Obviously, it works really well for that too. What other tools? Next essential, I'd say sprouting jars and microgreen trays and seeds and soil when you're ready for that level. Or hydroponic, you can do different mats for the microgreens. But if you're like, oh my God, that's really intense, start with sprouting. You can just use mason jars with a mesh top. And I also have Now brand jars, which are like clear glass with a mesh top. And they come in half gallon and I think quarter gallon. I have the half gallon one. They're really big and they work super well too. There are a bunch of different varieties. There's mason tops. I know Susie's always using those and she gets really good results. So sprouting equipment, I'd say, is a must. You can even sprout in a nut milk bag. I haven't done that. I did sprout in a bag once before, and it was a little dicey with the broccoli sprouts, but I did get it to work. So I also have had a sprouting tower. That's another thing you can get on Amazon. That worked really well. It had like 4 different levels of trays of sprouting. So yeah, start with that. And then food processor, dehydrator, spiralizer, those are all kind of like accessory items. Spiralizer, right now I'm using like a hand spiralizer that I got at Walmart, I think $7 or something, really inexpensive, very portable. I've used other hand spiralizers in the past. You can even do a peeler. Certain peelers are really good for making noodles. So that's it. That's another tool, kind of like the nut milk bag. It's like a really cheap one, good to have on hand for making noodles. I really enjoy the noodles. So that's about it though. Dehydrator, I recommend Excalibur. That's what I have used. I haven't really used anything else. I can't say that I have used, actually at Woodstock. We had these huge like beef jerky, like meat jerky commercial dehydrators, and we were making the banana cinnamon rolls in those. And they were a pain. Like, I did not like those. They weren't designed to dehydrate a bunch of bananas and make cinnamon rolls for hungry raw vegans at Woodstock Fruit Festival. But, we did what we could. Excalibur is the way to go. There's the 4 tray and the 9 tray. I've only ever had the 9 tray, and I really love it. Food processor, I've used really inexpensive ones. Right now, I think it was a Cuisinart. It was a pretty nice one, but they have different attachments for doing different things, and that can be really handy, but very much like not an essential in my kitchen. Yeah, and having some nice bowls and spoons and stuff, obviously, and jars. Oh my God. I usually have so many jars, it's annoying. Don't have space for all my jars. I always, wherever I go, I end up with like so many jars because I'm always making things, all the things, and they're nice to store different things into. For I could store seeds in like the 1/2-gallon jars, nut seeds, spices. These are definitely kitchen essentials. I keep all of the empties and refill them with bulk spices. That's very, very handy. So yeah, that's that question. What are tips to keep costs down? Buy what's on sale. That's a great tip, obvious tip. Buy what's on sale. Buy bulk. Get a membership like Sam's or Costco if you can, and you'll have some big savings from that. If you're not a corporate person or it really crushes a piece of your soul every time you go there, I totally understand. That is me, but I am still going there until I can grow all my own food and source everything I need at the quality I need. But yeah, making friends with your farmers, going to your farmers markets, that's really where it's at, and making those local connections with the people who are actually growing the food in your area. I can't recommend that enough. And going to different farmers markets, trying different stands, trying different foods from them, is different produce, it's so fun too. I just a couple weeks ago I stopped at a different stand, and their array, their variety was just insane. I was like, why have I been driving past this? So that's gonna be my new little regular spot. I think I might go there later today. But I highly recommend supporting your local farmers and start growing whatever you can yourself. I keep mentioning the sprouts and microgreens, but that's a really good place to start because you don't have to have an acre of land or a backyard or anything to start with that. You can do that all in your kitchen very comfortably, not a lot of mess. And yeah, you'll save money. I went from buying I could not buy enough greens at Costco and the markets for my smoothies and store them, and for my salads as well. But now that I'm growing the microgreens, I'm not buying any greens. It's awesome. I'm growing them all, and I get to watch them grow and take care of them, and I know they've been cared for so well, and they're just so nutritious and delicious. So whatever you can grow your own, and just get started with that. Learn more about how to do that and what you can grow. Okay. Another tip is eat what you need. This is obvious, but or simple, but also a game changer. If you're eating more food than you need, then you're buying more food than you need. You're spending more money than you need to spend. This is again where you can find out for your ideal body weight, if you're trying to go up or down, how many calories do you actually need, and make sure you're hitting that. And you might find you need to buy and eat a little less food than you were eating, or maybe it is. Hey, we're back, and we have a friend here. This is Naga. She's gonna be on my lap. I'm so sorry for this Wi-Fi. I just want to keep going though, and yeah, I appreciate y'all being here still. Okay, so I was just talking about really figuring out how much food you need and making sure you're eating that amount so that you're not actually eating more than you need to, thus buying more food than you need to, thus spending more money than you need to. Very good thing to be aware of. Also, if you're focusing on really high nutrient and how many nutrients per calorie can you consume, especially with those greens and microgreens and sprouts, I can't stop talking about them, then you're gonna probably end up needing to buy less food, which will save you money in the end as well. Also, if you choose to let go of health insurance because you're they don't know what I need, I know what I need, you're gonna save a lot of money that way, and that money can be directed into your food budget. That's certainly what I've done. Okay, next question. What microgreens are your favorite by taste and benefits? And I'd have to say I love them all the ones I've tried, but broccoli, the flavor, it's so nice. It's so savory and delicious, and almost it has a cooked broccoli, cooked potato kind of feel to me when you go in a savory direction. When I put it in my smoothies, it's just a nice addition. It's really smooth. It's not, offensive in flavor whatsoever. I love them. The benefits are many. That one has been kind of the most researched, especially the sprouts. The microgreens have just grown past the sprout phase, so they're gonna just have even more benefits than the sprouts. But some of those benefits I made some notes about, I wanted to share with y'all. A 1997 study said that 3-day-old sprouts have 10 to 100 times more nutrition than broccoli. 10 to 100 times more nutrition than broccoli. Oh my God, that's a lot. And, I haven't seen the studies, but could that potentially be generalized out to the other kinds of sprouts and microgreens? I think it probably could, but those studies haven't necessarily been done yet. So they also have cancer-fighting sulforaphane, which is a super beneficial compound. It's been studied quite a bit. It reduces oxidative stress in the upper airways of humans, so it's good for asthma. It's good for if you're an athlete and you're doing a lot of physical activity. It's going to help with your recovery and your performance when you're active. It inhibits various cancer stem cells. These are all things that were found in the research. I'm just looking at Naga. They're also blood sugar regulators. They're helpful for diabetics, and this has all been shown in the labs. So very compelling. A 2017 study compared to broccoli, the whole food broccoli, the sprouts that were grown either hydroponically, or the microgreens rather, that were grown hydroponically or in soil, in compost, had higher potassium, magnesium, manganese, copper, and zinc. The ones that were grown in compost outperformed the hydroponic ones. They were also higher in phosphorus, iron, calcium, sodium, everything. Like, they were just stellar compared to the broccoli, and even compared to the hydroponic. So grow in soil if you can. If it's not a big deal. It's not super messy. Like, it's really easy. And yeah, so in addition to the sulforaphane, which I'm just scratching the surface, I did a post about broccoli sprouts, and broccoli microgreens are going to have all the same benefits. I did a post about sulforaphane. It was like a picture of broccoli sprouts and really list all those benefits, but it's good for autism, I know, and mental health challenges, depression, anxiety. I know for me, I noticed my mood uplift when I started including them every single day. And anything to help out that natural happy feeling without any kind of drugs or stimulants or chemicals, I'm down with. They also have vitamins A, B, C, E, and K, minerals such as calcium, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, zinc, carotene, chlorophyll, and amino acids. I also notice when I plug my food into Chronometer and I'm eating sprouts every day, microgreens every day, my protein has come up significantly, which is like the vegan, oh my God, raw vegan, where do you get your protein? I get it from sprouts and microgreens. I was doing okay when I wasn't including those, but when I started including those, my protein came up to at least, 10% of calories from protein every day, like easily, when before it was like always a little bit lower than that. Adequate, usually 40 grams, which is what I need. But now it's like higher than that. I'm like, dang, okay, this is great. So where do you get your protein? Sprouts and microgreens. It definitely can help boost your protein, your amino acids. Anecdotally, just my experience, when I include the broccoli microgreens, I feel fuller longer when I put them in my smoothies. They hold me longer. It's not like I drink the smoothie and then like an hour later I'm like, oh my God, I could totally have another smoothie. That doesn't happen anymore. And that's phenomenal, because when you make like a 8-banana smoothie and you're like incredulous about the fact that you're actually hungry an hour later, that's kind of disappointing. And that goes back to our cost discussion earlier too. So adding these in, you can really feel a lot more satisfied. No cravings. Like, just like they're gone. I'm happy, I'm satisfied with what I'm having. I'm not thinking about other foods or tempted by other foods. It's not an issue. Absolutely craving killer superpowers, these sprouts and microgreens. I'm on board. Like I said, no overeating, because I feel satisfied. I can have what I eat, move on. I can eat less volume of food and still get the nutrients in, which is a big challenge for people just starting a raw or even just a vegan diet. Is like, oh my God, I have to eat so much food to like get the same amount of calories and nutrients. You put in the microgreens, that's a small amount, versus if you're putting in spinach, it could be like 4 cups of spinach or 5 or 6 cups of spinach. So that's very helpful for digestion and really reducing that burden, because a lot of times people can't digest these large meals either. I know I've struggled with that myself, having sluggish digestion. I'm eating all raw food, like, what's wrong with me? Well, maybe I just can't handle that large a quantity, unfortunately. And they're also blood sugar balancing. Like, I can confirm what the studies say. They definitely balance my blood sugar. Highly recommend them. But, try any kind of sprout or microgreen that you're drawn to. Like, I haven't tried any that I'm like, ew, no. They're all beautiful in their own rights. Next question is, what do I eat in a day? I've talked about this in other places, but it came up again, so I thought I'd just cruise through that. Lately I've been on a colon cleanse, so nothing, apple juice and these packets of fiber, but that actually ended today and I'm having like more of a normal day. I start every day with a hot lemon or lime water. Frequently I will add an inch or two of fresh ginger root and fresh turmeric root, as well as some fresh cilantro or fresh parsley for some heavy metal detox, some de-bloating power, and some super anti-inflammatory power, which is just awesome with the ginger and turmeric. I love those. I include those every day. The cleansing and detoxifying and alkalizing nature of the lemon or lime juice. It's just a stellar way to start the morning, and I feel like I get an energy zing out of it that is not like coffee in that you have a crash. It's just like, okay, I'll get going. It's very beneficial for the digestion, very pacifying for the doshas as well. After that, I will have a celery juice as like my first kind of caloric containing beverage of the day, and that's usually 16 ounces. If I can have some more, I'll have more, but I've not been able to source the best celery here yet, so usually it's about 16 ounces of organic celery juice. And then I like to wait at least as much time as it takes me to make a smoothie, if not a little longer, and then have a green smoothie with the sprouts or microgreens. Microgreens, usually I'll be having broccoli microgreens in my green smoothie today. And I like to put berries, bananas, whatever fruit, a mixture of like higher glycemic fruits like a banana or papaya, and a lower glycemic fruit like strawberries, blueberries, any of the berries, passion fruit. Soursop would probably also fit in there. Dragon fruit as well, depending on how sweet they are. Hello, welcome. And I will have that green smoothie for lunch, for breakfast, and then for lunch. I also like to add cinnamon and a little lucuma powder to up the sweetness, but a low glycemic upping of the sweetness. Cinnamon is also great for the blood sugar balancing, and if you can get really fresh cinnamon, it tastes so phenomenal. I love it. It's nice and warming too as we move into the colder months. Not that it's really cold where I am, but still it's really, really nice to add the cinnamon in. And I blend that up with some water and a little bit of chia seeds, and it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful breakfast and lunch. I'm very satisfied, flat belly, like feeling good, light, clear, bright. Yeah, let's go. For dinner lately, I've been having raw soups. I've been staying pretty much fully blended just to support digestive healing and maximize digestion and absorption and assimilation and everything like that. So I've been making raw soups with like carrots, tomatoes, zucchini, mushroom, any of the heartier vegetables, and pumpkin as well. I've gotten some really beautiful pumpkins here. Cucumbers I like to throw in there. What else do I put in? A little bit of spices, usually some salt-free seasonings, and like half of a lemon or a lime typically, unless I want it more tangy. And then I also add in fat to that. I add in 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds is a favorite one because that's so balanced with the omega-3/6 ratio. Walnuts I also really love. Flaxseed, any of those. I have some pecans I haven't been using lately, but I'm always getting in some fat. Avocado, also always getting in some fat in my dinner, as well as the breakfast and lunch with that little bit of chia seed. So that helps me feel very balanced and satisfied. And after I have my dinner, that's it. Kitchen's closed. I keep an intermittent fasting window. My eating window is from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and I stick with that, and I feel phenomenal. I don't want anything else. If at any time I feel like, ooh, I kind of want something, I'll have herbal tea. But that often is not the case. Usually I'm really satisfied, and I'm drinking a lot of water too. I aim to get about a gallon of water a day included in those things. So I'm counting that in the smoothie. That's like a liter of water just in between the two smoothies, some water in the soup sometimes, and then the celery juice is a liquid as well. But I do actually drink water. I know some raw vegan people don't drink water. I like to drink water. Yeah, so that's what I eat in a day right now. Other times I'm having for dinner big zoodles, dip, crackers, greens, the spreads that I show y'all on here. So yeah, it can be a lot of different things, but right now I'm on the blended liquid kind of train, and still getting in all the macro and micronutrients that I need every single day and feeling great. Yes, because that's how I want to feel every day. Okay, I had a really phenomenal question that I'm really excited to answer. Excuse me. And it is, does kapha imbalance excuse me. Let me have a sip of this juice. Maybe I've been talking too much. I don't talk that much usually. This juice is so good. Green apple and celery. Highly recommend. I don't normally have fruit juice, but I had some left over from my colon cleanse, so I stuck it in with the celery. It's just phenomenal. Yum. So the question is, does kapha imbalance just mean you're overweight? And in a nutshell, no. It's much more nuanced than that. Ayurveda is much more nuanced than that. I didn't really understand that until I went to India and was taught by an Indian woman trained in India in the Ayurvedic science and medicine, and practiced herself. And it really blew me away, because you can learn certain things from books and videos and whatnot, but like the Western Ayurveda is often very watered down. She explained it in such a way that I was just like, light bulbs went off, and they continue to go off as I do more research to answer questions like this and help people. So kapha dosha is a combination of the elements water and earth, and a kapha dosha imbalance usually comes in the form of excess kapha. I think that was the nature of this question, because excessive kapha could be manifesting as overweight or obesity or trouble losing weight. So excessive earth and water is kind of the theme to go on. Too much water, too much solidification in the body, too solid, too watery. And so looking at this on all the levels, you start in the mind. So kapha in excess in the mind, think about being too watery, too emotional, depressed, heaviness, lethargy, brain fog, drowsiness, too much sleep. You're sleeping like 10 hours a day, 12 hours a night, and still feeling tired. Laziness, melancholy, depression, just being really mentally sluggish, not sharp and zingy and on your game. In its severe manifestation, kapha imbalance in the mind comes out like depression, just like the inertia type depression. I've had this before and it sucks. It really, really sucks. And psych meds actually just kind of amplified it. So I was like a couch potato comatose. Like it was not a good situation. The severe manifestation, depression, withdrawal, loss of consciousness at its extreme, as in a diabetic coma. So yeah, definitely more than just weight loss. In the digestive tract, a kapha imbalance can look like heaviness, feeling fullness in the stomach, like you're not digesting all your food, and full, like when you wake up. If you've ever felt that way, or you're full when you wake up, that's like, yeah, a kapha imbalance. Nausea, excessive salivation, again, too much water, poor appetite, sweet taste in the mouth, indigestion, slow or suppressed metabolism, stools that are heavy, oily, pale, sticky, mucoid diarrhea. For those of you just joining, we're talking about kapha imbalance and how it's more than just you have too much weight or you're overweight or you can't lose weight. The mucoid diarrhea, in its severe form in the digestive tract, it can manifest as diabetes, anorexia, even having to do with that poor appetite, which you might not think of, but if your metabolism's so slow, you're not hungry at all, you end up just not eating, and that can cause a lot of other issues. Hyperglycemia, so high blood sugar, blood or pus in the stool. It can be very ugly with the kapha imbalance in the gut. In the respiratory system, it's going to show up a lot as too much mucus, too much matter, too much water, colds, coughs, excessive mucus, runny nose, nasal crest, boogers, gross, hay fever, congestion or tightness in the sinuses, throat, or chest. In its severe manifestation, it shows up as chronic sinus infections, phlegm adhered to the throat, inflammation of the mucous membranes, cystic fibrosis of the lungs, so it can be quite serious. In the circulatory system, the kapha imbalance is going to manifest as, hey Robin, I see you in the house, I appreciate you being here. In the circulatory, skin, muscles, and fat tissue, kapha accumulation can cause lymphatic congestion, swollen lymph glands, again, like solidification, mild and intermittent hypertension, hives and itching, just kind of like a pitta flare-up as well, pallor, cold sweats, reduced sweating, so having to do with the water, either you're producing too much or like you're not cooling yourself well, loss of strength, formation of lymphomas, weight gain, of course, and its severe manifestations can be blood clot, so again, solidification of the blood, deep vein thrombosis, stagnation of the blood, hardening of the vessels, heart disease, severely high cholesterol, edema, congestive heart failure, leukemia, hypertension, hypertrophy, so increasing the size of the heart and actually thickening and blocking, like solidification inside the valves. Extreme hypotonia, so weak muscle tone, obesity, and formation of malignant fatty tumors. So you're growing things that you don't need, that don't serve you, liposarcomas. And then I'm just going to list off a lot of other signs of kapha imbalance and excess. There are many. Water retention, very obvious. That's why if I'm working with someone kapha dosha predominant or someone with a kapha imbalance, get the salt out of there as fast as you can and don't bring it back in anytime soon. Excess urination, low-grade fevers, fungal infections, excess earwax, dental tartar, excess hair growth, like not where you want it to grow, low sex drive or way too high sex drive, premature ejaculation, enlarged prostate, cold or heavy testicles, fibrocystic lumps, vaginal discharge that's like thick, white, yellow, not natural looking, prolonged slow menstrual cycles, you're like way slowed down, foul smell like body odor, swelling and stiffness in the joints, heavy eyes, kapha imbalance, it's a very heavy everywhere. Whiteness in the urine, eyes, or feces, impacted wisdom teeth, tumors, again, growing things that don't belong. Hey, new friends here, we're talking about kapha imbalance and how it's way more than just weight gain or being overweight. Kapha imbalance can also manifest as goiter, enlargement of the thyroid gland, enlarged spleen, again, things being too big and too solid, too weighty, too heavy. Enlarged liver, glaucoma, protruding eyes, gangrene, so the death of bodily tissue, fibroid tumors, gallstones, stones where they don't belong, calcifications, bone spurs, benign head tumors made of bone, osteoma, scoliosis, kyphosis, curvature of the spine, hunchback, And also lordosis, which is sway back. Actually, I knew a girl like this when I was growing up, and she had like it looked like her butt, she was sticking her butt out. And she got kind of a lot of hate for that. But now I'm like, oh, poor girl. Like, this is what she had. I remember hearing that she had a condition, but everyone was like, yeah, all right. But yeah, like, that's legit. And it's also a sign of kapha imbalance. Hydrocephalus, excess cerebrospinal fluid in the brain. Neurofibromas, so benign nerve tumors. Prostatic, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but prostate stones, essentially. Endometriosis, so the uterus-like tissue growing outside of the uterus where it does not belong. And cystic ovaries, so quite a lot of range in the kapha imbalance, much more nuanced than just being overweight. Again, Ayurveda is looking at all the bodily symptoms, it's looking systems, it's looking at the mental and emotional function, the structural function, like the bones, the organs, and the functional aspects of the body, like digestion, like how are things actually being processed on through. So very, very nuanced, very complex. Kapha imbalance can have a lot of different shapes and sizes. Another question I got was microgreens versus sprouts and my growing method of choice. And I would say if you could only grow one, grow microgreens for the better nutrition, but sprouts for like the ease. They're both incredible. You're gonna get health gains if you start including either one. If you're not ready to grow, just buy some at the store, whatever you can find. Try as many as you can find. And yeah, microgreens are going to have a little more nutrition because they've been allowed to grow more and develop more nutrients and actually start bringing in photosynthesis and utilizing the sunlight and uptaking nutrients from the soil if you're growing in soil. That's why if you're growing them, grow them in soil. They're going to be even higher nutrition. So yeah, that goes into my growing method. I can come over here and show y'all. Let's see. I got some things going on. Okay, so this is my growing method here. These are clover sprouts and alfalfa. And actually right here, I had some rotting. I don't know what happened. I've never grown alfalfa before, but what I use is just these trays here. Very simple setup. We've got trays with no hole. It's like 1 inch-ish, maybe 2 inch. And then, yeah, this is a tray I've got filled with crystals. This is the weight I use on top. But here, I've got these on the floor drying. These are the trays with holes. So you want a tray without holes and one with holes. And they just have little slots there you can see. And I use that. I set them up like that, water them from the bottom, and then also in this bin here underneath, I keep my soil right there. And it's just potting soil. I learned that, here, let me flip you around. It's actually better if you look for a fine grained soil, not something that has like the big chunks of white. I've been growing in one that has the big chunks of things and it's been fine. I try to break certain things up if I notice them, or, you know, take out little sticks that I see. But next time I buy soil, I'll be going for a finer grain mix. I also keep a spray bottle on hand for misting them when you first start out. I can do a live or something all about how to grow them. But yeah, this is really handy for misting all the soil, and then when you put the seeds down, misting all the seeds. And then I'm not like misting these up here. Those I'm watering from the bottom. So that's my microgreen setup. It's worked really well. I've grown a bunch of different kinds so far, and then I just got, oh my God, I'll show y'all. I got so many seeds. I think they're all in here. Nope, wrong drawer. All my seeds are in here. It's like so heavy. It's not opening well. Sorry for that noise. But yeah, these are all microgreen seeds. So many of them. Like this. These are True Leaf Market. I got like all the different kinds that I could get. Really nice packaging there. And then these are, I have 3 huge bags here. It's buckwheat, sunflower, and pea. All right, let me get this back in. All right, and then for sprouting, this is like my magical little cabinet here. This is a top you can use on top of just a regular mason jar. This is what I was using for sprouting initially. And then what's even easier and better, I think, is this. This is the Now brand sprouting jar. You can see it's got a mesh lid, and this is a 1/2 gallon, so you can grow quite a lot of sprouts in there. They come in smaller sizes too. But that's what I've used, and these are other seeds that I got at the health food store, and that's what I've been using up until I got the True Leaf Market ones. So, you know, start with whatever you can get, but I encourage you not to buy the little tiny packets of seeds that are like $5 from, you know, the gardening store or whatnot, because, you know, that's really pretty overpriced and the quality is maybe not so good. Health food store is where to go, or online True Leaf Market. Like, I haven't grown with them yet, so I can't say from my own experience, but the reviews from everyone else, like, it seems like everyone in America who grows this stuff uses True Leaf Market. So I trust that, and I will definitely keep y'all posted as time goes on. I start growing different things and how that goes. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for that question. Someone was asking about the Breville blender. I mentioned that in my first live and was really, really happy about it. I showed y'all how I made a smoothie in it with the vacuum seal and everything. And I touched on this earlier, but I am extremely pleased with it. It outperforms Vitamix like by a gajillion. Like, I've been so impressed with it. There aren't any chunks in anything. Here, I can show y'all. I already have the makings of a smoothie in here, so it looks kind of weird, but yeah, it's yellow because I used my turmeric in there. The fresh turmeric stained it. But yeah, these controls are really, really handy too. Like, I've never been one to do like presets. I'm more of a manual kind of girl. It's like driving a car or something. Like, I want to control my blender. But I've actually been using the presets, and I use the smoothie one for my green smoothies, unless it's got a lot of frozen fruit, and I think it'll be more challenging to blend, then I'll do the green smoothie. And the green smoothie setting is longer. So if it's something, I'm sorry, that's the Wi-Fi again. If it's something that's gonna blend easily, then I will just use the smoothie setting, which is a little shorter. But if it's more challenging, then I'll do green smoothie. For my raw soups, I have been using the soup cold to hot setting, and I've just been turning it off before because it will blend like really for a very long time, longer than I need, and it will get that soup probably pretty much boiling, which I also want to keep it raw. But the other settings are easy to use too and have been good, but I love the presets, super handy. And then this here is the vacuum attachment. It's really simple, powered by batteries, and I don't know if y'all can see that. So it comes with 2 little tops. This is like the normal one for a smoothie, or like when I do my lemon water, I don't vacuum seal that. I will use this, but when I'm doing the vacuum seal, you use this one that has the little puff of air on it, and it, you know, makes a seal, and then you put this on top, turn it on, and it goes for like about a minute. And you don't want like the blender to be going, like this is before you blend, nothing's happening. Vacuum seal it, it will just stop when it's done. You remove this, and then you blend, and then at the end, to release the pressure, you push this button and it goes it's great. Yeah, so that's the blender, and it's, like I said, it is absolutely phenomenal. If you're looking for a new blender and you're looking for an upgrade, I would go with this. I would go with a vacuum seal. Do your research, but I've been super, super pleased with the using it for hot lemon water with the roots in it and the parsley and greens for my green smoothies, and then also for my soups and dips. Just phenomenal, really, really phenomenal across the board. Yeah, so I think that's going to be it for today. Thank y'all, those of you who popped in on any of the lives. I appreciate y'all being here. I'll try to save this on IGTV. I don't know if it'll let me since it was so fragmented, but yeah, DM me your questions anytime. I will be coming back to you next Tuesday with more Q&A. And yeah, I really just appreciate you being here. So I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful day. Much love to you. Namaste.